Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary. Yes, I did do a search for INFJ on YouTube, and the INFJ stare. Who cares? Give me a break. Anyway, that's not going to be the topic of this video. There was a few down. There was one that says, "How to rewire the INFJ brain." That's by, I think, the channel's The Brainy Touch, and they're very clever. They know how to do the good titles and the good thumbnails and the AI voices and the B-rolls and all that. That's not what we do here. But I have been working on rewiring my INFJ brain, and I'm always trying to do that. I mean, not always. I think these things go in phases. Maybe it's astrology. I think we just had some... I'm not very much into astrology, but we just had some major alignment. And humanity's due for that. And us INFJs, being the spear tip, being the point of the human spear, we're going to feel it first, right? So let's talk about the rewire. Well, the best way to rewire your brain is to learn how to reframe. Woo, and that's a rhyme. Okay. And I've been looking at a series of books lately. I don't want to say what they are. I may get into it later. We'll just keep it vague. And this series of books is basically about how you interact and deal with reality. Okay, and as we pointed out in our last, maybe it was last video or the one before, any different set of decisions you make will set a chain of events into motion. And now some physicists and stuff, have theories about parallel universes and all that. And I don't know. I'm not into science very much, but I think it's kind of a wasteful idea, actually. But the fact of the matter is that you're awash in a sea of potential lives that you could be living, and each decision you make from moment to moment will cast you into one of these lives, some of which are hell and some of which are heaven. So how do you latch into the positive and fruitful life? How do you rewire your brain to get these good results? Well, there's a lot of ways. First of all, you don't want to engage with negative people or situations. Also, I think it's a good plan. Like for my part, I'm just done with news, all of it. I don't care. Anything I really need to know about, one of my friends will tell me. Or, a pigeon will land on the island with some sort of important missive. But I don't need to battle that. I don't need that taking up space in my psyche. And I knew this when I was younger, but we can get dragged into caring about a lot of things. And the fact of the matter is, it's just another form of entertainment. But in the case of news, since it's actually happening, it could be especially draining and actually be drawing energy away from you, energy that you could use to make a more productive and fruitful life. So that'd be number one. Just be careful what you care about, be careful what you learn about and what you study. And a lot of it might just be under the, I always look at the news first thing in the morning. Yeah, me too, but I haven't now for a week and a half, and it's fine, it's good, I don't need it. Instead, I'm reading a book or something. I'm just trying to bring my whole, I'm trying to rewire my brain and bring the whole thing up. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, and this is especially tough for us INFJs. I guess I'll just speak for myself, but so often the intuitions that I have are coming from a place of what isn't going to work, what is wrong with something. I can't help but notice that most people don't tend to enjoy my negative insights into what could potentially go wrong with whatever it is they're trying to do. Even though I'm just trying to be helpful, right? So, and negativity, it's often very easy to justify because we know we're right. We know that the insight's correct. We feel that maybe by imparting these ideas or putting energy into these ideas, having insights and interest in the ideas ourselves, that they'll change things. But yeah, not really. I'd say for the most part, you don't want to think about anything negative. There's really no need. You can justify it easily, and many would and do, but the fact is that anytime you start thinking about a bunch of negative stuff, that is giving your personal energy to that negativity. And here's a reframe for you. Just if you find that that's what you're doing, turn it around to something positive. And you want to basically catch the positive wave. Make sure that you are receiving positive vibrations from the world, and that is what you are broadcasting as well. Now, it's not always easy. It's, like I said, super easy to justify negative insights and negative information. Even there's a bit of a charge from it, right? It's not worth it. At the end of the day, it's not worth it. If you can't find a way to, I'm not talking about being a Pollyanna, but in a sense, you kind of, if you may be a younger person and haven't heard of Pollyanna, Pollyanna was, I think, in the Greek myths, but or no, maybe it was some story from the 1800s or 19th century or something like that. But in the story, the girl, no matter what went down, it was all positive this, positive that. And the thing is, when it's done in a kind of thoughtless way, it can be very annoying. And we have, maybe you've been exposed to people like that. I'm not talking about that. In fact, for the most part, this should just be kept to yourself. You know what I mean? You don't want to be correcting other people's negative statements and behavior. That's going to pull you into negativity. Just say things that are positive and think about things that are positive. And what you'll find is that this is going to bring a lot more positive energy into your existence. This is the most massive reframe that I can think of. This is how you rewire your INFJ brain. I don't know what these birds are doing. It's an island. I think, I hope they're not, whatever. They were fighting over. Yeah, you can hear, I don't know if you can hear that. Anyway, beside the point. Let's see, we keep going. Okay, so bringing positive changes into your life. You have maybe goals and things you want to accomplish. It could be financial, or it could be some sort of acknowledgement of your creative abilities, or it could be the ability to help people on a massive scale. Any of these dreams. It could be owning your own home. That's a big one. That's especially tough for some of the younger generations to get a toehold in there. And that said, I don't think you should feed into. That's been a temptation for me too, because I've seen that the disparity between the not just the generations, but the inequality of the division of wealth in our society is a real issue. However, the way to approach it is not by studying all the ways that the elites are grabbing up all the stuff and ruminating about it and getting all grumpy about it. The thing to do is to open up your own life to increased amounts of prosperity. You can own your own home. It's totally accomplishable. How? That I do not know, my friend. But if that's a dream of yours, it's something you want, then stop entertaining the belief that it's not possible and start entertaining the belief that it is. And I'm not talking about saying 100 times a day, oh, I'm going to have my own home, I'm going to have my own home, I'm going to have my own home, because obviously we talked about that in the previous broadcast. That could push it further away. But just be neutral, leaning towards positive about it, and just assume that it's something that's going to happen, that is a stream of your existence that you are going to occupy. Visualize yourself in that home, happy and contented, and glad to be an INFJ in the modern world. How's that sound? Anyway, that's it for today, my friends. Until I come back in a couple more, keep on keeping on.